Xiomara is 18 years old. She's a senior at New Direction School, and she'll be graduating with high honors in June.
I wasn't an ordinary kid. I didn't have Jordans, but it's not what you wear, it's how confident you are. I didn't have friends. I always sat in the corner with my hoodie on. Sometimes I would sit with the school counselor. Girls would pull my hair and make nasty comments. It wouldn't stop. I needed to stick up for myself. I was having delusions. I felt like people were staring and talking about me. I tried to isolate myself from other people. I kept to myself. My parents were getting concerned. I was talking to myself. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. I was always getting in trouble at home. I was always getting in trouble at school. I was having difficulty focusing. Home was getting phone calls. I was getting suspended. The cops were called. I was skipping class and I was starting drama. I was always the third wheel. I was hanging out with the background. It all started on my 13th birthday. It was a disaster. I was uncomfortable having these thoughts and negativity, tears running down my face. I was confused. Everybody kept asking me, what's wrong? Am I normal? Am I invisible? Do they see me? Just couldn't get the words out of my head, from the tip of my tongue. The confusion was only continued in the next step of my life for hospitalization, but it definitely wasn't my last. These people are crazy. Why am I here? I was in Bay State Hospital in Springfield, Massachusetts. Why is there cameras? Mom, get me out of here. I was out of control. It took me 2 shots in my arms to calm me down. I was having hallucinations in the process. In that moment, everything changed before my thoughts and eyes. I'm trapped. They put me in a behavioral center in the hospital. I didn't have anything but my Bible. I felt dead. I went to a mental facility in Boston for about a month and 3 weeks. My thoughts were, where am I? What did I do to deserve this? I could hear ringing in my ears. Someone was talking to me. Am I hallucinating? How can I get out of here? Shall I lie my way out? I started taking medication for my schizophrenia. In a couple weeks I was out. Unfortunately, I had an allergic reaction to one of my meds I was taking, so they sent me to Providence Hospital in Holyoke. I spent a couple months there. While I was there, I fractured my foot. The pain was sharp. In a couple months, I went home. It was hard to see my family like this. They were always treating me like I was a little kid. My schizophrenia started to get worse. I started to have side effects to my meds. I was getting suspended from school. The cops were always being called. I was running away all the time. Not following my mom's rules in the house. I was like a different person. My parents were getting worried. I was sent to court and they put me in a program called Holy Star. My mom ended up having open heart surgery, and of course I thought it was my fault. They ended up putting cameras in my house. I went back to my house and it was more strict. I was making bad decisions. I understand why I was doing this to myself. A couple of months later, I ended up in another program called Choices in Springfield. My mom still wanted to teach me a lesson. I was making some pretty bad choices. There was a lot of discipline after that. They put me in an after-school program. At this point, I was dying inside. I felt trapped. I met my best friend there. Her name was Allison. She was a very lovable person, good roommate, and she was an amazing person. Good roommate, and she was an amazing person. I always remember I met her at Holy Star. We were roommates. I created a bond with her. I will never forget her. I also had my first crush when I was 13 at the time. I didn't know what was wrong or right. At that age, my schizophrenia grew. It was a lot getting used to. I didn't think I was good enough. At the program, there was a punching bag in one of the rooms. I began to examine it. I looked closely and began to wonder. I started to use the bag, and the staff gave me some lessons. After a while, I got into a boxing program. Then I went to Worcester Hospital. I stayed there for a year in a lock unit. I learned a lot and made a lot of friends. It was a struggle not seeing my family. It was overwhelming. Other people in the hospital were placed in a lot of restraints and were having a lot of triggers. It was scary. My schizophrenia was noticeable. A lot of people worried. As time passed, they placed me in another unit. We were able to get out more. Pretty soon I was out the door. I had an interview at Cousins in Northampton. There were 3 types of houses: Shannon House, King, and Harlan. I met Nate, I met the other girls. I was nervous. As time passed, I began to fit in. I used to have problems with my schizophrenia always talking to me. Time passed, I started doing better because I'm getting more mature and learning from my mistakes. Now I'm 18 years old, ready to graduate and going off to college. I succeeded. I want to tell everybody my story. My advice for anyone is to keep your head up and focus on yourself.